Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle DeTeach, or Coach Danny D, and I help women entrepreneurs and professionals to achieve their personal success stories that include joy, fulfillment, and balance. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease, be successful, and enjoy your life. My happy place is spending as much time in my PJs as humanly possible. And I want to help other women find their happy space while running profitable businesses or having a successful career. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danny D. Always here helping you to find that space of balance, joy, fulfillment right now. Because what we waiting for? So I'm excited. I'm so excited. We have a special guest here today, and I'm excited for you to meet her. I'm excited for the conversation. So I'm gonna just jump right on in so we are not wasting any time. So I want to introduce to you Ebony Allen. And so she she is a I'm sorry. I'm about to say that I just asked you and I'm about to say it wrong. But she's a LCW BACS, and she's the founder and the director of the Brookhaven Counseling and Consulting Services. She's also a qualified school social worker, adjunct professor with over 18 years of experience in social services, education, and 11 years as a therapist. Boy, you know that black don't crack. Um, Ebony specializes in adolescent and family therapeutic services with a focus on reducing the stigma of mental health care in the Black community and expanding access to care in marginalized communities. So, all the things that we need,
Yeah.
especially in this time and space. But that's the bio. But I have to share with y'all all the time who, when I meet a person and what like stands out to me. So what stands out to me about Ebony is that she is like so down to earth and like relatable. Like when I first met her, I felt like I knew her for like forever. And just that like that comfort level of when you meet somebody and you don't feel like the pretentiousness, you don't feel any of that, you just feel comfortable and at home. And so that's what I like, that was my impression of you when I first met you. And like, every time that I've engaged with you has been absolutely the same. Um, y'all got to see her in person because that skin glows. Hear me?
Oh,
Absolutely
thank you.
glows.
Thank you.
But just a beautiful person inside and out. So I am honored to have you here, and I can't wait for us to just jump into a conversation.
Thank you. And I feel the same way. People say all the time how women don't support each other. But I disagree. And you are proof
Absolutely.
of that. When we first met, you offered some good words of encouragement. And I'm excited to have this conversation and also to see what other conversations it can lead to. And we need to like hang out. I'm just excited
Yes.
about it all.
Yes, that's one of the things I love about this podcast and this podcast community is that it really has evolved from just like interviewing people to like, some like real relationships and exactly what you said. Like, I just don't believe that. I mean, do I know what the mean girl thing is? Yes. Do I believe that that's the only thing that we have going on? No. I think that there are a lot of women that are out there that are genuinely supporting one another and making sure that we all win. So I know that that's true for you, and I appreciate you for that. So
Yeah.
I we today we're gonna talk about purpose.
All right.
Today we're gonna talk about purpose, and I let God guide the conversation. We sometimes we say one thing and then we end up somewhere else, but I wanna just jump into that. Um, I'll share just to kind of lead off the conversation. So I've mentioned before because we got several past guests that have been on here that were involved in this book project. So Dr. Renika Briscoe was the curator for this project, and she was a past guest. Monica Pierre has been a guest 3 times.
Oh,
In
okay.
her last appearance, she was talking about her chapter in the book. So, Ebony is also in the book. And it is a really, like, y'all got to read it. Okay. Like, y'all have to read this book. I got the e version before the hard copy came out, and I read as much as I could on my flight, but I was only going to Atlanta, so it wasn't long enough. And then as soon as I got another moment, I picked it back up and finished it because it's really, really that good. So tell us about your chapter and a little bit about that process of like sharing that story because I know that required a lot of vulnerability to share in that way.
It did. Not only vulnerability, but also I would say courage.
Hmm.
I wanted when I was conceptualizing my chapter, I didn't want it to just be a boring read, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. You
Yes,
know that
absolutely.
I do trainings and workshops, and I try to always have some element of excitement, right?
Yes.
I like to giggle, I like to, be in it. And so I wanted to bring that same type of atmosphere to my chapter. And so my chapter is just a bunch of storytelling. And so my chapter is In Pursuit of Peace, chapter 5. And I talk about a couple of different scenarios that have happened to me throughout my life, experiences that I've had, everything from the death of my mother to experiences in friendship. And I, try to add a little bit of humor, but still allow for the readers to feel a sense of emotion if that's what they're led to feel. And so it was a not an easy process because it also caused me to have to remember some things that I probably would have rather forgotten. It caused me to have to check myself on some issues and some things, but I would definitely say it was life changing.
I love that. I love that. And you brought all of those things to the chapter. Like,
I
because I'm the
tried.
same way. I like a little razzle dazzle. Like, I don't, I, I get bored easily. So I like to, joke around as well. So it was just beautifully told because I could see it, feel it as if I was experiencing it with you, but also, those emotional like
Mhm.
tones as well because we're more alike than we are different. Like that was what I got out of each chapter. I may not have identified completely with the author, but there was something in there that I was like,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
I've been there.
Like,
Or if I haven't been there myself, I've witnessed it. Because
yes,
the whole idea is that we as Black women have these experiences that we can sometimes feel lonely in. And we can sometimes feel like it's just me and no one else knows and no one else understands, right? And of course, we all haven't experienced everything that's out there,
correct.
but chances are, if we haven't experienced it ourselves, we've seen it in our sisters, or we've seen it in our aunts, or in our friends and our African American colleagues. And so I think the book is just relatable. Every
Hmm.
chapter, there's something that you can pull out of it to kind of help you find your voice and find your footing in this world.
I totally agree with that. And I think I want to I don't want to miss that point of that we have that shared experience, right? In the sense
Mhm.
that, like you said, either you've experienced it or if you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I know that this is probably true of you as a therapist. I know for me as a coach, most times when I'm talking to somebody, the weight of the situation is the fact that they think that they're the only ones that is experiencing it.
Yeah. So in therapy, we do something just called normalizing. I have clients who come who are embarrassed or ashamed by whatever the thing is, right? And so first, we just remind them that like there's no shock and surprise. We've seen it all. We've heard about it. We've read about it, and what you're experiencing, you know, you're not alone. Even if I haven't experienced it, I can relate by the fact just that we're human.
Right.
And then in addition to that, here are all these other similarities that we have, and even finding beauty in our differences,
Yes.
I think can help provide a level of comfort.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think on a like a public level, because we not going to therapy as much as we need to be going, right? I mean, I've said this several times lately. I'm like, I really think people need to, like, therapy needs to be just like a doctor's appointment that you have to go to
Yeah,
from birth, right? But
yeah, from
but
birth.
it's not, it's not, and so um a lot of times, if we're not in therapy and getting that side of things, we're not having these conversations. And
Hmm.
so that's one of the things I love about the book and just, this podcast, just having these conversations out loud so that people understand that you are not alone. There
Yeah,
are other people that are sharing this experience, and there are other people that you can turn to kind of, talk this out. Like, let's figure out, well, you know what, this worked for me. Like,
yeah,
it may not be the thing that works for you, right? Because we're all different, but at least we can brainstorm it together as opposed to sitting in, shame, pain, or whatever it
correct,
is
correct. And
behind the scenes.
I think there's also a factor of selflessness, right? So when I am experiencing something, it is heartwarming to find out that I'm not alone and to find out that other people have been in that situation. However, if I'm experiencing something and I don't know anyone who's been in that situation and I do feel alone, I think I have a responsibility to share that so that the next person coming up doesn't feel what I feel.
Yes.
Um, and then you mentioned the need for therapy. I think the stigma around African Americans going to therapy still exists. I will say that I'm really proud that it's decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
So within my practice, 90% of my practice are Black women. 90% are, Black women who 10 years ago, I'm not even going to say 20 or 30 years ago, 10 years ago would not have sought therapy because of the stigma. I think, we talk about social media, which can be really amazing or really awful. But I think that's one of the positive things that social media has done.
Mm-hmm.
It has normalized going to counseling, going to therapy, and talking about the issues that you're facing. So I'm very appreciative of that.
I think, yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, because yeah, it has its pluses and its minuses, but I think
Right.
that is definitely a plus. And I'm just like, as you were talking, I was just thinking about a few times recently having conversations with, girlfriends, and just like casually it being thrown out. Oh, my therapist said,
Yeah.
or oh, I need to go back to my therapist because it's been a minute, and things are just moving too fast. But, it's just a beauty in hearing that
Mm-hmm.
casually, like I have to go to the dentist, so
Correct.
I think
Correct.
that is a positive. There is change in that way, but I also think that, there is still a ways
Mm-hmm.
to go. And it doesn't have to be, you go to your annual checkup whether something is wrong with you or not, right? Like you
Correct.
don't have to be in crisis to then, go to therapy. So,
Right.
hopefully y'all hearing this and y'all
Right. Are thinking about
y'all
it.
making some appointments, because there's a lot of things that we don't have to carry.
Hmm. But we don't know that.
Yes.
There are things that we carry, and it's not even that we think, do I have to carry this? Oh, yes, I do. It's not even a consideration. It's
Mm-mm.
just automatic.
Right.
It's an automatic, in my chapter, I talk about this idea that we have to be the strong Black women.
Mm,
And a huge part of that is because we watched our grandmothers do it and they watched their grandmothers do it. But our plight is not theirs.
mm-mm.
And and the other part of it is that they experienced what they experienced so that we wouldn't have to.
Absolutely.
Imagine going through everything that our ancestors went through just for us to still be stressed out on the same level that they were stressed out on.
Yeah.
They paved the way so that we can relax, so that we can go talk to somebody if that's what we need to do.
Yeah. 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 We have to relinquish, a
Mhm.
lot of the old ways. Like I did a episode leading up to the holidays, and like I enjoy cooking for the holidays. Like for me, that's something that brings me joy. But it's not for everybody.
Right,
But you feel like, oh, because Big Mama did it, then I gotta do it. Like
right.
you can order takeout. You can make new traditions. You don't
Traditions,
have
yeah,
to carry on those same things. And I'm tired of strong. Like, you can keep that. I'm good on that. I done did that, been there, done that, and it's not fun.
correct, correct, correct. And it wears you down. We
Yes,
tired.
that
Um,
part.
I think with the idea of like the cooking and the traditions, it's time to just do you,
Yes.
whatever that means, right? As long as you are not harming someone, as long as you are not being a detriment to society, do what works best for you. And it may not be what works best for me, right? But if you decide that you're gonna go get a Cajun fried turkey from Popeyes, then go get your Cajun fried turkey from Popeyes. It's not harming me. It's not harming the environment or the community. And I think there's not enough autonomy. Everyone does either what everyone else is doing or what they're told to do or what is just modeled for them, right? We need more
Mm-hmm.
independent thinkers, more
Yes.
people who can decide, okay, this is for me and this is not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I often talk about cheat codes. Like I know certain things work for me because I've been knowing me my whole life.
Correct.
Right. And
Correct.
so, but it took for me to come to the realization that that's not going to work for me. Because sometimes people will give you pushback, like if they have a recommendation and they're like, do this. And I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
going to work for me. That doesn't mean that I don't have to still do the thing, whatever, whatever that is, but I'm gonna do the modified version that's gonna work for me.
Correct.
And so I totally agree with you. We have to learn to stop being cookie cutter. We weren't put on this
Mhm.
earth to be cookie cutter. We were uniquely designed, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely okay. But I think on the like flip side of that, we got to stop judging people.
Yes. Yeah.
We got to stop judging people because like why do you care? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Correct.
why do you
Correct.
care what that person is doing? Why can't
Correct.
you let them be happy in their own
Yes. Element.
space? Like
Yeah.
if they about to go pull out a TV dinner and sit in front of the TV on Thanksgiving, that is their business.
Correct.
That is
Correct.
their business. And as long as, I had a coworker years ago, and she said, don't yuck my
Don't
yum.
yuck my yum. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And that just always has stuck with me. But for some reason, we feel compelled to, like, we can't just make a decision, but we want everybody to also co-sign the decision. And then if somebody dissents, we have to call them out. Let people be.
Yeah. Now, I do think, a little while ago, I mentioned that social media has like amazing things and it has some awful things. I think one of the not so great things that has come out of this social media era is an abundance of audacity, right? And so, whereas before, someone may have done something that you didn't necessarily agree with, and you might have thought to yourself, oh, I wouldn't have a TV dinner, for Thanksgiving, but whatever. Now it's like you have to announce that you wouldn't have had a TV dinner. You have to announce everything that you assume about the person who does have the TV dinner. It's just, filled with audacity. And so I think between the judgment, between the audacity that exists, I think those are all the things that further keep people kind of away from their own healing because people are not safe to be vulnerable.
Right.
People, it's almost like you constantly have to put on a show because if you allow who you are and what you think to be exposed, then you're going to be harmed in some way, and maybe not physical harm but emotional, right? And so we that's another way we have to be strong because it's like I can't say this and I can't say that. It's just we all just have to kind of figure out who we are, what works for us, and how we need to move in order to find happiness or to find peace, as in my chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Chapter
Well, you
5.
be advertising that chapter 5. I still knew it was chapter 5. Uh, but no, I totally agree with you though. I think, it's kind of weird energy. I guess I've always been somewhat of a loner, so
Mhm,
I never really like cared like that what people thought. Like,
mhm,
but everybody is not that. And I had somebody say that to me one time, like they were struggling with something, and they asked me about it. It was like a parenting thing, and the mother-in-law and something, and I was just like, well, I mean, this is my thoughts. Like if
mhm.
it were me, these are my thoughts. And they said back to me, I could never say that, or I could never do that. And I never thought about it before. And so then that started making me think about, how many people feel that way. They don't have that strength. And then not to have that strength and to be around, basically bullies,
Yeah,
how difficult that is to navigate. And just I don't know. I just see some stuff sometimes, and I'm just like, I think hit the nail on the head with audacity. I'm like,
yeah,
like I'll see somebody like post something like wildly disrespectful on somebody's business page, and I'm like, if you didn't like it or you didn't want, like, just scroll on. Like when did
correct.
we get to the point where we just say any old nasty thing?
Yeah. I mean, people are just downright mean.
Yes.
There people are just downright mean. I think for me, I am now the person who is very confident, who can say the thing, but I definitely had to grow into it. I used to be such a people pleaser. Um, and I've never been a pushover, right? So it's not
Right.
like you gonna just bully me, but I definitely want to like make this one happy and make that one happy, and sometimes to the detriment of my own happiness. The thing that I will say that really helped me to evolve from that is raising daughters.
Mm,
Because it's all good when they're like 5 and 6 and you're teaching them to use their voice and you're teaching them to question the world around them. But then when they become teenagers and they want to know the why and they want you to explain it because they don't just accept anything. I
right,
think having the experience of raising daughters, my daughters are 20 and 17. So having the experience of raising them and watching the way that they interact with the world and the way that they question the world and the way that they hold strong to their beliefs has helped me to be wiser and to be stronger because I definitely was not as courageous as either of them are. So I think it also is a testament to the idea that we never stop growing. We never
mm-hmm,
stop developing, and it's a joy to be able to say, like, if this is who I am now, just imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years or in 10
right,
years, you know?
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I was talking to some college students at this event recently, and that was one of the things I said to them. I'm like, you're gonna rediscover yourself every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like y'all stressing out about right now, but
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all hitting those 20s and you're gonna think you got it together and you know it all. And then you hit
Yeah.
30 and you like, I didn't know anything. And then you hit 40 and you like, whoa, I
Yeah.
still didn't know anything. Like,
Yes.
you
Yes.
you rediscover yourself and yeah, you grow. Like I'm I s- I also see, I see my growth reflected in my child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he has parts of me that I was that way when I was his age, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then he has other parts of me that are totally today me.
Same. So I have two, and it's really funny because I call them the my older one, I call her the calm, and my baby is the storm. So I call them the calm before the storm, right? So my 17-year-old is me at 17, but with the confidence that I didn't have, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's so beautiful and so smart and so outspoken and so confident um at 17. And then my 20-year-old is like softer, more soft
Mm-hmm.
spoken, and she's very kind and very like domestic, and she works at a school. She wants to be a social worker. So it's funny to watch both of them at their current stages in life because it's like looking back at me, at those different stages in life, but they are both just beyond anything I could have dreamed of as a mom. They're
Mm-hmm.
both like the best versions of me, And and I think a part of this book project and just like this quest to constantly find peace or constantly find your voice, it's also in service of what I want them to see.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've been in education for almost 18 years. And what do I want the kids who I work with to see?
Right.
What do I want to model for them? And even my clients in my private practice, what do I want to model for them? And how can I help them find their voices? And I can't help them if I'm, timid and I can't find
Mm-hmm.
my own voice. So I think we also grow and evolve through our daily practices, even if we don't realize that's what's happening.
Oh no, absolutely. Like when you said that about finding their voices and how can you do that without, you yourself modeling it,
Right.
right?
Right.
I can remember having a conversation with my cousin, and we grew up almost like siblings, right?
Hmm.
And we were just talking about a bunch of just random stuff. And he goes, but you doing like these speaking engagements and stuff. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I didn't talk to anybody except my mom until my mom passed.
Mm. How old were you
Mom,
when your mom passed?
I was 7. Well, 6. I
Okay.
was turning 7. She passed in December, and My birthday's in January.
Oh wow.
Um, and even after that, I've always been like very like introspective. Like I've never, like I just kept to myself. I never really um shared my voice.
Yeah.
And I part of it was that I felt like people didn't understand me.
Mm.
And to then later discover that that's the thing. Like, I had a client say, she was like, I'm like, oh, I put this in your portal and I put that in your portal. And she was like, what? And I'm like, I've been putting all this content in your portal, in between our like sessions. And she was like, oh, I've never opened that. And I'm like, and this was like a high ticket client. I'm like, so I said, well, what you been doing? She said, I just been want to come talk to you. She said,
I love that.
she said, I just like how you think about stuff. She's like, in between our sessions, I'll be trying to figure it out. And she said, I will talk to you for 10 minutes and you make me feel like I never thought about this thing before in my life.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like a full circle moment of like, that's the thing that you kind of hid, but that's the thing that God wants you to put in the front.
Yeah. I recently heard on a podcast, I can't remember the name of the podcast, but the lady was saying when we have gifts, when God gives us gifts and we don't use those gifts, we're being disobedient.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about how like we say that we're holy and we praise God and we this, that, and the other, but we're scared to do the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that really resonated with me. Now I will say when it comes to business moves and stuff, I don't have the spirit of fear. I'll do anything. I'll jump off the cliff. Sometimes, I break a leg and sometimes I survive. But I'm not really afraid, but that did resonate with me because sometimes you do struggle with imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you do wonder if you are enough, right? And so when you think about being disobedient, it gives you the faith to keep going. Because if he said I'm enough, it don't matter what nobody else said.
That part.
If he said I'm enough, it doesn't even matter what my inner voice is saying
Mm-mm.
because I have to remember what he said.
It's
So I think, yeah,
disrespectful.
yeah. And
It's
it's disobedient.
disrespectful. It's disrespectful. And it's so funny because like I almost like I could play back to you some podcast episodes and some videos like that you're almost like saying verbatim
Mm-hmm.
like like completely on point. I actually even did a graphic tee that it says obedience and abundance.
Mm.
And that's my current season is that I'm just leaning into whatever God puts in front of me. And
Yeah.
even when I feel that fear, because I feel like that fear is specific to our calling and our purpose work. And
Yeah.
so, like, even though some areas of it we do without any qualms or what have you, when it gets personal,
Yeah.
then it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then we start trying to squirm and trying to hide and, do all of those things. And that's how it is like that's it,
Yeah.
because that's how you kind of that knee-jerk reaction of, how can I get out of this? Because
Yeah.
only me and God know.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Only me and God know because I ain't gonna dare say it to nobody else because then you might hold
Mm-hmm.
me to it. So only
Yep.
me and God know. And how, that fear of stepping fully into that thing because it's never a small thing
Right.
that God is asking us to do. So I definitely think like I just by the time this airs, my Capable Confident You book will be out, right? Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I just sent it to press. I'm just waiting for it to upload on Amazon and start promoting it. But it touches on a lot of those themes
Yeah.
of how we, how we hide, especially as overachievers, how we, because we got the laundry list of accomplishments.
Yes.
So nobody gonna dare walk up to us and say we not doing the thing, but we
Yes.
still know that got that thing, that conversation that we had with God
Yeah.
that we don't want to move on.
I think also it's a matter of not only discernment, but having patience. So like I can give you
Hmm.
two really, really quick examples of the idea of how, you know, being still. One example is I wanted to teach on a college level. I wanted to be I'm currently an adjunct professor, but I was probably for like 6 months to a year, I was adamant about filling out applications, visiting. I graduated from Suno here in New Orleans. I reached out to everybody I could think to reach out to. I had colleagues that taught there. I could not get a foot in the door. I couldn't get an appointment. I couldn't get an email reply. And it was very frustrating because I know this is a calling that I have and I think I would be pretty good at it. I wanted to do it there because I wanted to give back to the program that from where I graduated, but I just couldn't get a response. And so I said, okay, I'll leave it alone. Probably about 6 or 7 months. And also nobody knew that I was on this quest, right? So of
Hmm.
course the colleagues that I reached out to see if they could put me on, they knew, but I wasn't broadcasting that
Right.
this was
Nobody else knew.
expiring.
Yeah.
Right. And so a couple of months I said, all right, God, it must not be for me. About 6 or 7 months went by and I got a phone call. Hey, the school where I teach is looking for adjunct professors. You think you would be interested? I said, certainly. Went through the seamless process and got hired. Where I wanted to go, there was an in-person commitment. There was a certain, there was just a level of commitment that I was willing to take on, but I would have had to figure it out.
Hmm.
Where I ended up, I was able to do it on my terms. I was able to do it virtually, so I don't have to drive anywhere and I don't have to miss practice and miss games, and it's better than I could have expected, and it's completely separate from what I was applying for, right?
Right.
And so that patience just came right on, it came in
Right.
handy. And then I won't talk forever, but there are other examples of me just sitting back, praying a prayer and watching and relinquishing control.
Mm.
And God saying, all right, thank you. Thank you for having
Look,
faith. So
finally, because I've been
finally,
told you to go sit down.
exactly. Exactly.
Been told you, because I've had similar experiences where I'm like, I done went all the way down a bunny trail and it didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out. And
Yeah.
then I'm sitting up there and I'm frustrated and I'm like, now me and God having, we having words. And he said, but I ain't never told you to do that.
Right. Right.
I never told you to do that. I like you just went off on a tangent and you just
Yon yon.
on
Yep.
your own and you ain't stopping. Listen, you ain't look back, ask me if that was the right way to go. You didn't do any
Yep.
of that. And
Yep.
so like I've learned from that now to I've shared this a few times recently. Like I pray differently now. And for me, it was like, you're a very honest person, but you have the most dishonest relationship with God.
Oh wow.
Like, because I'm
Powerful.
sitting up there, I'm praying prayers, but I'm not really saying how I actually feel or what's actually going on with me. And so I started to switch that up. And so now I pray, in the morning, I start with my gratitude. And then after my gratitude, I just talk to God. If I'm feeling lost, I ask him for guidance. If I'm feeling anxious, Lord, help me calm my anxiety so that I can do
Yeah.
what you need me to do.
Yeah.
Lord, help me be courageous today so that I can do this thing that you've asked me to do.
Yeah.
So I just start being really honest with how I feel, because me feeling a way is not a reflection on God or what God has promised me. It's just me being human.
Is you being human. Yeah. I think the beauty in what we were talking about with like a sisterhood and having a positive circle is also that when you have to bear that burden because that anxiety got you in a chokehold, you can have women around you who are in alignment, who can
Mm-hmm.
say, all right, sis, you take some deep breaths, I'ma pray this prayer, right? And so you don't have to fight this battle alone.
Yes.
I think that's also really valuable as Black women, having that sisterhood that
Yeah.
is aligned.
Yeah. I think it's important. I was explaining to somebody because there was a situation that happened and they said, well, they had a fallout with somebody else that I know, and they felt a way because I maintained the friendship with both people.
Yeah.
And what I explained was, in this season in my life, there's not a lot that will make me not stay in relationship with someone, but things will make me change that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Change how you show up.
Change how I show up, or change the space I allow that person to occupy, right? And
Mhm.
so I don't feel like I gotta, break up or make an announcement or do, a thing. It's just a matter of, if you show me that you're not a part of that safety circle, right?
Mhm.
Then, it's just like when you go to an event, some people got VIP tickets and some people don't.
Right.
Some people
Right.
got backstage access and some people don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And we could be cool and we could go, have drinks, have lunch, do whatever. But when it comes to those moments like what you're talking about, that, I need to be in safe space for those moments. For me to be able to truly, be vulnerable, I have to know that, the people around me are safe. And I think, a lot of people don't um separate
Hmm.
their friendships or their relationships by the safety of them.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
being open in spaces that maybe you shouldn't be open.
Yeah. That's true. I think you also got to have discernment about who is around you. I in my chapter, there's a whole section where I simply talk about friendship. And I think it's because, I say this all the time. Sometimes people say, women in particular say, "Oh, I don't need no friends. I don't need friends." I just be quiet when they say that part because I have such an amazing circle of friends that I literally could not imagine my life without them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes,
they are
absolutely.
they are just amazing. But I also know that that's a blessing and that is unique because not every woman has that.
Mm-mm.
In my chapter, I talk about a friendship that went really sour. And I don't go too much into detail about it, but I do mention it. And I was really young when that happened. And I think for me, that was a turning point at a young age that, oh, baby, y'all not about to keep hurting my
Nah,
feelings,
nah,
right?
we're not doing that.
We not doing that. And so entering into spaces after that caused me to be more mindful,
Mm-hmm.
caused me to be less thirsty because
Yes.
guess what? I don't need to just kick it. You know what I mean? You
Right.
you have
Like,
to,
I
yeah,
told you
like
I'm a
you,
loner, so I could
right,
take you or
right,
leave you in a minute. So
right.
if I'm gonna look, if I'm gonna add you to the roster,
You
you
gotta
know,
be, you gotta
you
pull your
you you
weight.
gotta be an all-star. Like
Yeah,
it just is what it is. But yeah, I what I've noticed. And I think I've had the same kind of, because I used to be team no new friends.
Okay.
I used to be team no new friends, like maybe like about, I'm gonna say like maybe 15 years ago, right? And it is part of just being a loner. It's part of, being in certain spaces that weren't healthy, right? As far as like
Hmm.
friendships and relationships. But I think at this phase, because I definitely have those friends like what you're talking about. And I think at this phase in my life, what I notice is, or what I just feel like this was my experience, but I also feel like I see it in other people. Until you start healing,
Yeah.
you will continue to attract broken people.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
so then people don't believe in the value of friendship
Hmm.
because they're not surrounded by people that would be good friends, right?
Yeah. I was reading an article yesterday about the friendship of Gail and Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the article and then I went on to read the comments, which is always a mistake.
It's always a bad idea.
Um, and so many of the comments, and it was Black women, were saying like, oh, they're gay. Oh, they've been lovers for this long. And it was funny because I smirked. So my best friend, we've been friends for about 24 years. We met when we were 18. Well, maybe I was 18 and she was 19. And we are now in our 40s. We've been friends for a really, really long time. We have what I think is the kind of friendship that I read about with Gail and Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never been lovers, right? I think that it is I think it's comical, but I also think it's really sad that people believe that the only way Black women
Mm-hmm.
can be close, can be friends and maintain a friendship for so long, the only way that's possible is if there is a sexual situation happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the people who make those comments and the people who believe that, it's really sad because that just means that you don't know what pure friendship and love
Mm-mm.
is.
No,
You don't know
you
what it
haven't
is.
experienced it.
You haven't experienced it.
Like I mean, I've had this experience multiple times, but this is the most recent, I think, and so it's like sticking to me. But I was at a conference, it was like a women's conference, and it was a group of us were like having a conversation. And this one lady walks up and she starts talking, and she seemed nice enough. And then she started talking about, you know, women not being able to be friends and this and that and everything else. And I just kind of like, like glanced and I was like, kind of like that Homer Simpson, like back away sort of
Yeah.
situation. And so I was there with a friend and I'm like, I was talking to her about it afterwards. And she had one take on it. And I was like, that wasn't really my take. I said, I don't know that I don't think this lady realizes that the energy
Hmm.
that she put out, right? And I'm totally team, let's be girlfriends, let's, look out for each other, let's, I'm that's me all day long. But when I hear that, I'm like,
Yeah, like
like,
who hurt you, girl? You
right,
bitter.
who hurt you? And can you go deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Exit
I
stage left.
don't think people realize that because I hear people say, I want that. Like they see it and they say they want it. They want,
Hmm.
these genuine friendships. But here's the thing, once we done crossed over
Hmm.
into this happy space, y'all got to figure it out. Like,
Well,
it's a sterile space and that energy is not going to get you invited, I think, into that
yeah.
space.
Yeah. Well, and I think a part of being a friend is saying it.
Yes. Oh,
A part
look,
of
I'm an
being
honest friend. I'm an
yeah,
honest.
like girl, what is wrong with you? Like who can we call, baby? Who can
Right.
we get
Let's
to get you
talk.
together?
Let's sit and let's talk. And um, I mean, I know your chapter was about peace. I'm just like at this point, this is Wakanda. I don't know that I'm letting,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's not a gatekeeping thing. It's just, are you committed to healing? You have to also
yeah,
be, sometimes, yes, it may be the people that you're around, but sometimes you're just not there yet.
yeah,
And I can look back at versions of me that were not there yet.
yes, yes. And it's a conscious decision. I tell my girls if we're off and the youngest one can be grumpy some mornings, and I say to her, you got to decide what kind of day you're gonna have. Because if you decide right now that today is gonna suck, then surely it will suck.
It will.
You have the power, right? And so some people need to take that same concept and just apply it to life. If
Mm-hmm.
you just decide, now that's not to say problems aren't gonna come.
Correct.
However, I strongly believe that the power of life and death is in the tongue. And you
Mm-hmm.
have to speak those things that are not as if they were. And so, some people call it manifestation or, whatever the terms are, but you can't walk around coming from a space of just seeing things in a deficit and then expect abundance.
Right.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and you have to understand the amount of that is your job to do. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? In the sense that it's only so much that some outside person is going
Can
to
do.
do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't allow people to take me out of my energy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes that requires me to limit the people that I'm around.
Correct. Correct. Because, I used to tell my brother all the time, we would be talking about different things, and I would say to him, if you allow someone else's problem to become your problem, you have a problem.
Hmm.
And as a therapist, I fully understand the power of allowing someone's problem to be their problem. I can offer you insight. I can offer a bit of guidance, but I can't fix it. I can't fix it. You can fix it. And I can support you in doing so. But it's not my role. I got my own stuff.
Right. Right.
I got my own bags to carry,
Right.
right? And they're heavy sometimes. And
And
so,
then I think people who don't take that accountability for themselves, they don't have no problem dumping that on you.
mm-mm, nope.
And so, I'm an empath. So, I'm like, ooh, we got to break up. Like
Yeah, yeah.
we
Because
could,
you have a responsibility to yourself to be the best version of you
right.
that you can be. And if you're carrying someone else's luggage, they're not growing
Mm-mm.
and you're suffering. And that's
Right.
no good for anyone.
Right. And then some people are committed to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm a natural problem solver. So I'm not the one you like. If you just want to talk about it,
Right.
I'm not that friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I will listen. I'm a good friend. So I will listen. But know that I'm already counting down in my head to how long it
Yeah.
is before I'm like, okay, so what we about to do?
So what now?
Right.
So what
And
now?
so that's where my mind is. So if you just want to talk about this for the next 20 years, then you got to
Yeah.
call somebody else.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
I'm not set up that way, so and I had to learn that the hard way. Like I'm like, so you just really actually committed to this problem.
Yeah. I also think when we're talking about building a circle, when we're talking about sisterhood, the another piece that's really beautiful is having problem solvers in every area of life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
right now, if I need something, if I have a question and it involves a legal issue, I have someone I can call. If it involves a medical issue, I have people that I can call. If it involves an issue that requires creativity, I have someone that I can brainstorm with, right? And so this idea we were talking earlier about women supporting women and the beauty of that sisterhood, it's a really amazing place to be. I love it here, right? It's an
Yes.
amazing
Oh,
place to be
absolutely.
where you can tap into that sisterhood and you can say, hey, I need you to brainstorm with me, or hey, I saw this thing and it made me think about you, let me share this amazing opportunity with you. And I think there's not enough of that happens either, out of
Mm-mm.
fear or whatever the reason is. I think more of that would be like so beneficial to everyone.
I think it's like, I think part of it is just like scarcity mindset. I think part of it is, a part of that like whole superwoman like trope is appearing effortless, right?
Yeah,
And so that stops us from one being vulnerable enough to say, I need help.
yeah,
And two, reaching out their hand sometimes to help, right? And I know that, I have experienced some of the strangest like responses to just being genuine.
yeah, because people aren't used to it.
People don't are not used to it and they think that you have an ulterior motive. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
But
like,
that speaks more to who they are
yeah.
than to who you are. Um, yeah, yeah. And
But
it's
I
huge.
just wish we lived in a world that that wasn't a thing, that people didn't like I have watched the walls fall down in a lot of situations in the sense of, I met this person, I was just being like, me, that's just who I am. And they were like, what you want, where you came from, who sent you?
Yeah, who sent you?
And I'm
Yeah,
like, did nobody, I don't know, God, I don't know the answers to your questions, but I'm gonna be over here whenever you figure that out or whatever. And
yeah.
just like slowly have them see, like, no, this is real.
Hmm.
Or like recently I did a conference with a few of my balloon sisters, and we are like genuinely real like friends. Like, and it was so interesting watching like people watch us.
Yeah,
Like it was like they was like they serious. Like they really
yeah,
like, no, for real, we are serious. Like we like have each other back. Like I know that any one of them could send me a text message at any time asking me, like one of them sent me a text and asked me, this was like a couple of years ago. She said, "Why aren't you um vending at these balloon events?"
hmm,
And I was like, well, I'm kind of going in a different direction. I know I do stuff in the balloon community, but that's not the like, and she was just like, okay. And we had and I knew that was coming from God, right? Like I knew because of who was saying it and how she was saying it. And so I actually, signed up for this event solely because of that conversation. But she just texted me randomly
yeah,
and sparked up that conversation. And
yeah.
so we we have to start fostering more of that.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know, I
it's a beautiful thing.
it is. It really is. Like because, it tells the other person not only do you love them and care about them, but that you see them.
Yeah. And the other thing that it does, it reminds us I don't have to compete with anybody.
Mm-mm.
Because one thing I am a firm believer of, like I told you that I do workshops and trainings. I'll talk to anybody about anything. Anything that I've done, anything that I've accomplished, I'll talk to you about it. I don't mind. I'm an open book because I strongly believe that what is for me, it is for me. And you
Absolutely.
can't take what's mine. People
Mm-mm.
say, oh, if you're planning something, just keep it to yourself. I've never
I
subscribed.
hate that.
I've never subscribed to that because also, like, we're talking about faith, right? So where is the
I
faith in
really,
that?
really hate that. I hate when I
Mhm.
see that.
No.
I really,
I'm
really hate that. I love that you said that because I hate that so much. And I said to somebody one time, I said, if you feel like that, then you need to be around different people.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta plug my computer.
No, you're fine. But no, I'm like, you need to be around different people. That's how I feel because if I can't talk to like my people
They're not my
about
people.
what's going on with me, then you're not my people.
You're not
Like,
my
that's
people.
just, I don't know. That's just like weird energy for me. I can't,
Mhm.
like, I hate, like, I see those memes all the time and I'm like, oh my God, like, I hate this. Like, when did we
I'm
get here?
Yeah, and I'm that person. Everybody, everybody has my phone number. People say all the time, "Oh, I have a young person who wants to be a therapist, or I have someone who's thinking about social work. Would you mind talking to them?" I'm like, "Yes." Give them my number because number one, I believe I can't see everybody. I
Mm-mm.
am one person. My company is one company, right? Are you there? You
Yeah, I'm
froze.
here. I think you froze, but I'm
Are
here.
you there?
Yeah.
I can't see. I plugged up my charger, and now my internet connection is unstable suddenly. Weird.
That's all right.
Um,
We ain't gonna let the devil get us today. We gonna
yeah, I was saying,
you're only
um,
one person.
yeah, I'm only one person. I can't do it all. And I really believe that I have an obligation. Nobody told me this. This is just my own beliefs. I have an obligation to hand this thing off
Right.
to individuals who are competent and capable, right?
Right.
And so, like I said, everybody has my number. Everybody has my email address, and I'm an open book. Anything you think you need to know about mental health, call me.
Right.
There's no competition. You can't have nothing that's for me.
Well, I mean, the
And that's
thing
just
is
what it is.
that at the end of the day, is what you bring to the table, right? Like we could
Yeah,
all go through the same process, the same training, the same whatever, but you are a unique individual, and what you bring to the table is what you bring to the table, and they're going to be people who are going to totally gravitate towards you and be like, you are my person. And they're going to be people that be like, nah, she ain't my person.
nah, I'm cool on her. Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that. That is how it's supposed to be because
yeah.
everybody can't be for everyone. If you are for everyone, then you probably want to check on that
Yeah,
because
because you for the streets. That's what the
something,
kids say, right? You for the
huh?
streets. The kids say you for the
Yeah,
streets.
you for the streets. You need to hone that in because you're not being dedicated to what God called you to do if you're not off-putting to some people. It
Yeah,
is what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, I understand like when people say, okay, well, there's certain things you're gonna have to, pay to do or go through a certain
right,
training or, I get that. I get that. But in general, giving people guidance, sharing with
right.
people your experience, sharing with people the path, that they need to go down. They're like, why you hiding it?
Right, right. We need more. I'm for everybody black. And
That that
so I
part,
just,
that part all day
you know,
long.
as a therapist, we need more black therapists. We
Right.
need more black male therapists. And so I am always willing to have a conversation, to offer some insight, to enlighten or whatever to kind of help usher that movement forward because it's so necessary.
Yes.
It's so necessary.
Yes. And I think, I think some people are like, oh, grit. And I only like that word. People got to go through this. And da, 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 da. Like, I don't know why we like want to honor struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah. Well,
saying?
it's
Like,
like it's like what I was saying earlier about our ancestors, right? They went through so much so that we wouldn't have to, but we don't even see that same mindset. I was talking about my girls earlier and certain things that I've given to them or that I've allotted them. And I've heard people say like, "Oh no, mine gotta struggle because I struggled." That makes absolutely no
that's so
sense.
crazy to me.
That makes no sense.
That
There
is so
there will
crazy.
be there will be a time. The world is designed in a way that there will be a time when they have to struggle and there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Until that time comes,
Right.
anything I can do to offer support or to make their load lighter, why not?
That.
Why not?
That.
It's so weird to me that the whole idea of, oh, they got to struggle because I had to struggle. So that means your struggle was in vain.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird energy to me because I want the world for my child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want him to experience the world in a better way.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to sacrifice to make that happen. Like that is just I don't understand. Like, of course, you gotta adult and do all those things, but it don't have to be hard. That's
Mm-mm.
not a prerequisite. I think we think that that's a prerequisite. And um just me with my whole work with ease mantra, like it's so difficult sometimes having conversations with people because I'm like, the struggle is not required.
Correct. And like I said before, at some point there will be struggle, right? I don't have to rush the struggle. I used
No.
to all the time think about the young black boys that I work with, and I would say, the world is going to kick their ass. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to. I don't have to. I don't
Right.
have to contribute to it. I can create a softness and it
Right.
be okay because there is so many places where there will be no softness.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think some people think that they're protecting their kids by toughening them up or what have you. But part of me also, like, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Yes, we know the history, right? And we know the current stuff that's going on. Um, but how much of our fear of what's going to happen dictates how we
Yeah.
live?
Yeah. There
You
has
know
to
what I'm
be a
saying?
balance.
Huh?
Yeah. There has to be a balance.
There has to be a balance because sometimes we're walking into situations and we're responding before
Hmm.
the actual catalyst, right? Like so how do we even know if that's the energy in the space or did we bring the energy into the space? We know the
Yeah.
history. We know where the
Yeah.
energy, we know why we hold that energy and why we learn that energy, but is it truly there or not? Like as far
Yeah.
as, individual space. We know it's in the world, but
Right.
it,
Right.
and so if we do raise our kids in that struggle, when does that like when does it end, I guess?
Yeah. Well, we have to find a balance between educating them and traumatizing them.
That
And that, like, I don't even need to elaborate. We just have to
no that
find a balance between the two
that
because it's a thin line.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you don't want them to go out in the world and have no clue, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not trying to waterboard you. Like that's not my job.
Yeah.
Um, like, yeah. Um, but even that, when you just said, I don't even have to say anymore. I'm gonna bring it somewhere totally different. but that you said a little bit earlier, that is why we need more Black therapists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
And to be able to, open up, share your experiences, go through that conversation with somebody who knows exactly what you mean.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
even just now when I was getting my book edited, the last editor was a white lady. And so a couple of her notes, I went back to my writing coach and I was like, hey, is this a cultural thing or am I tripping? And she was like, oh, yeah, it's a cultural thing. Because I'm like, because
Yeah.
she asked, like, she had question marks behind certain things, but I'm like,
I say what I say.
I said what I said, and a black woman would know what I meant.
Correct. Correct.
And so, so it's just having that connection. And so that's why it's so important. And that's why I'm glad that you do foster and, help the growth of other potential Black therapists because, I can't be bearing my soul to you and I got to explain
Correct.
to you at the same time, like we doing too much.
Yeah. And it's also just fun. Like
Yeah.
I
I could
enjoy it.
imagine. I could imagine. Like I'm like, I feel like I won't go sit on the couch. Like I
So yeah, well, when I was talking about fun, I mean like the mentorship. Now, listen, I clown with some of my clients as well in therapy. I have clients who I've been seeing for a while. We know each other's personalities. And often they're like, oh, girl, I can't wait to tell you this. And, we have that camaraderie. But even with the people who I offer supervision to or that I offer mentoring to, it's not all just business all the time because that's
hmm
boring. It's not all just cut and dry. I have a personality and I'm not afraid to show my corniness or show my personality, but that also is after overcoming the imposter syndrome
Right, right,
because I don't have to show up in your version of what
right,
professional is. I don't
right.
have to disarm you in order to be able to be who I am and to do what I do. And so I think that's another important aspect of it, just being comfortable in your own skin despite what others may think or say of it.
Yeah. I think I've had that same experience as far as imposter syndrome around being my authentic self, right? Like
Hmm.
just, like that you have to show up this like polished,
Hmm.
like, sterile way. And it's like, that's not me. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
I can do that. I have done that. I've, worked in professional space, but that's just really not me. Like I like to connect with people. I like
Mhm.
to, I like to see people smile, like regardless of the situation. Like you can call me and
Yeah.
be like, so and so died. We about to be kikiing by the time the phone conversation is over. Like that's just who I am.
Mhm.
And being okay with that, being comfortable, um, you know, doing a speaking engagement in my jeans and my t-shirt because that was the audience, right? But
Yeah.
there was a version of myself that no matter what the audience was, I was going to be, suited and booted. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, I'm going to adapt to where I am. There are
Yeah.
different sides to my personality, but I'm not leaving my personality at home. Like I can lean into that.
And it's necessary to be able to do so. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's it.
No,
Yeah.
really. I mean, I think that we have to stop thinking that professional is not us, right?
Yeah.
Like I wrote a whole chapter about assimilation, right?
Mhm.
And like all of the harm that is tied into that. And we do it for safety. But at the same time, it's like, and then we lose identity. And then we think that it looks this certain way. And I've seen so many women be courageous and come out and just be who they are, right? And now I'm to the point where when I hear, like, when I go to, like, these, like, stuffy type of thing, I'm like, what time is this over?
Right. But
Because I'm
you
like, you don't
know,
have, like, there's no razzle, there's no dazzle, there's no pop. Y'all didn't have no black women back there. Where they at? Go get them.
it's just flat. But you know that all goes back to white supremacy.
Yes,
You know, the definition, who decided what the definition of professional was? Who decided that this isn't good enough, the way it
that part.
grows from my
Out of
head,
your
right?
head. That part.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's a whole nother podcast for a
That's a
whole
whole
nother
nother
day.
episode. We're gonna have to come back and dig deeper into that one.
Yes,
But
yes.
but I'm saying all of that to say, like, we have to learn how to be comfortable in our own skin
Mhm.
and find that value. And it's not always easy, and especially with the world giving us other
Yeah,
narratives.
yeah.
Now, we've been talking for a while, so I do want to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about I know when we talked before, you were talking about this event you have coming up for the mental health community, and I'm just so stoked about this event. So go ahead and
So,
share.
at the end of May, May 23rd, we're going to do something called Flow 2026. And it's an opportunity to gain continuing education credits for those who need them, social workers, counselors, nurses. But what it really is, it's the creation of a Black space, people who serve Black people in any capacity to come together, to laugh, to learn from each other, to grow from each other, to not have to worry about code switching, to, put the boots on the ground, or all the things that make us who we are, to be able to do that amongst other like-minded professionals. So it'll be here in New Orleans, in the Ninth Ward at a school. And I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm currently seeking individuals who are interested in becoming presenters. I'm looking for people who are looking to gain scholarships, who are looking to sponsor all the things that would typically go in, as a part of a summit or a conference. You can find information at brookhavenhelps.com.
Okay.
Brookhavenhelps.com.
And we're gonna put that in the show notes so that y'all can get that information. Reach out and support this event because I think it's gonna be amazing. I think that space is necessary. So you said code switching. That was one of the things that had a question mark next to it. In the, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna explain that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a universal term, but that's okay. But we need this space to you know to build a healing community, but also just to celebrate one another and support one another. So I'm
Well,
excited about it.
I had this idea a couple years ago and I didn't move on it. But last year I spoke at an international conference and I spoke at a national conference. And one thing that I noticed at both of these was that the people getting the information looked like me. The
Mm-hmm.
people being served look like me. But the people who were the leaders, the people who
Mm-hmm.
were the experts, the people who were the knowledge keepers did not. And I thought to myself, I'm here speaking. I'm an expert in my own right, but I'm not alone. And
Right.
there are several of my colleagues and several people in my professional circle who are also experts in their own right. There are several people out in my community, in the close vicinity, who are experts as well. And so it's also about creating opportunity and
Mm-hmm.
giving them the opportunity or creating a space where they can have the opportunity to share their expertise with people who look like them, who they can, create their PowerPoint and I don't know, teach each other how to Dougie. I don't know, whatever the thing
Whatever it
is
is.
that needs to happen. I wasn't seeing enough of that. I've
Mm-hmm.
done speaking engagements all over. Um, and I just don't see enough of that. And so I wanted to create it. And that's what it's gonna be in May. I'm so excited about it.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. Like when you told me about it, like I haven't stopped thinking about it. I'm very excited about it. Um, one thing that you just said, I think that in our community, there is a large amount of imposter syndrome around leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that, like you said, though several of those people that were sitting in the audience with you were qualified to be on the stage
And do it better.
and do it better
Hmm.
and do it better. But, there's two parts to that. Yes, there's the part of, selection and being selected, but, like I had a conversation within my balloon community with one of the like major distributors, and they had this was like during COVID, and they were trying to deal with like, they were questioned about some like, like representation.
Hmm.
And they were trying to have a, candid conversation, whatever. And one of the things that they said was that they did not get the submissions. So while they definitely had problems on their end, right?
Yeah.
Of how they were operating, I was like, there clarity on your process? Is there, like there were
Yeah.
several things that, we were holding them to the table for,
And we weren't even applying.
but you're not even applying, right? So you're not a part of this conversation, this movement, like to try to fix it,
Yeah.
and you're not even applying. So you just in a corner upset about
Yeah.
not being picked for something that you didn't apply for. So, we can't, we're not responsible for fixing the other side of it. That's for them to figure out. But
Right.
we are responsible for how we're showing up. And I think that there is um some healing, some support, some work to be done um to understand worth
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understand that, you know, that person that's on the stage probably has half the qualifications that you do.
Yeah. Well, and I think it starts from celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And so this event that I'm doing, it is about celebrating Black knowledge and
Yeah.
celebrating just who we are as a people and as an educated people, as a qualified people.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I think it starts there.
And I think we have to do it for each other
I
as
agree.
well.
I
Like I
agree.
have a friend that will like and I don't know how she knows it, but like and she doesn't because I actually said something to her the other day and she was just like, I don't know, I just that was what I was thinking today. She will always a day when I'm like doubt heavy, she's gonna always send me a text message that's like affirming.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I didn't say anything out loud about it. I didn't like, there was
Yeah.
nothing. I might not even talk to her that day. It was nothing to give her that indication. And the other day she did it, and I was like, you know that you like, and she was like,
And
that's
see,
just God. Like,
yeah,
but
I
we
love
have
that.
to do that for one another
Mhm.
because, you know, the analogy I always use is people don't tell a pretty girl she's pretty because they think she knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's sitting there insecure because nobody tells her that she's pretty, right?
Yeah.
So we have to tell people the like things that we think about them and how we see them, because we don't always see ourselves fully.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be a mirror for one another.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna wrap up because again, we are in sync and we can talk for all the
We
days and all the
definitely have to
nights.
do this again.
Oh, we're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna do it closer to the event because I definitely
Sounds
want
good.
to um help to promote the event and support in any way that I can. Um,
Uh-huh.
well, I'm excited because I just think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that we need to realize that we can do things for us by us.
Yes. Yes.
That we don't have to rely on others and that's not in a divisive way, that's just in a way that we need to know our own strength.
Yeah, I agree. I
All
agree.
right, so I'm gonna do my wrap up questions. The first one is tell me about your favorite pajamas.
Oh, so I'm not a huge pajama girl, to be honest.
That's fine.
But
That's fine.
I recently lost lots of weight. So
Hmm.
anything that's gonna make me feel fine is gonna be my
Okay.
favorite. And
Okay.
so I have these nightgowns with slits on the side.
Ah,
And they are my favorite and they are my husband's favorite.
look, give a little thigh meat. Give a little
Just a
thigh
little bit. Just a little
meat.
bit.
I love it. Um, okay, so finish this sentence. My time freedom allows me to.
Do whatever I want to do.
Mm,
Whatever.
I love it. I love it because it's just flexible. You just get to. That's why it's
Yeah.
important. All
Yeah.
right. So, what's the best advice that you can give to someone seeking the profits in pajamas lifestyle?
Make sure the voice in your head is louder than the voices that surround you if the voices that surround you are not positive.
Mm,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. So, you already told us about your event, but is there anything else you want to share with the audience? And then also, how can people connect with you, work with you, get in touch with you?
Sure. So this is funny. I can never remember my Instagram name. So
That's
people
okay.
can
We're gonna
follow
put it in the
me.
show notes.
Okay, it's Brookhaven Helps. I just figured it out. Um, but yeah, I run my Instagram. I respond to DMs. And so that's the quickest, easiest way to reach me.
Okay, awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm just like excited to have this conversation. Every time I talk to you, it's always like a great
I
experience.
know, I agree. I agree.
And we will do it again. So y'all gonna see Ebony again. She gonna be a 2025 guest and a 2026 guest, right?
I'll be
So
back.
but yeah, we can come on again. Maybe our topic then will be about assimilation because that's just
Whatever you say, I could talk all day to you. So whatever
look.
you set it
All
for,
right,
we gonna roll
same,
with it.
same.
We're gonna
But
roll
that
with
has
it.
just been on my mind a lot. It's been on
Yeah,
my mind a lot. So I think that's a good topic we could talk about and um yeah, because I want everybody to be able to be um their authentic self. Like I think that that's the greatest freedom. Like we talk about time freedom, but that's like the biggest freedom is when you
I
just
agree.
are unapologetically yourself and that you aren't phased by, we talked before about those people and the audacity and stuff like that. I see it and I hurt for the people that are on the other side of that.
Yeah.
But, I also want to be like, come on, let's do a like, self-love boot camp to
Hmm.
where you get, you build that strength to where you just like, and your point is
Yeah. Yeah.
to get there. But I know that that's a challenge, and especially in this always, constant, contact world, like it's a little much. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I did mention to you guys, so by the time this airs, the book will be out. So I'll have that in the show notes, where y'all can get a copy of the book. And we're gonna also share Ebony's event so that y'all can support and especially those in the local area. But y'all can get on the plane. We're not gonna be mad at y'all if y'all get on the
Right.
plane.
Right.
All right, y'all. See y'all next week. Thanks for listening to the Prophets in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with these. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. For more information about creating balance in your life, register for my upcoming calendar detox challenge at CoachDannyD.com. Don't forget to subscribe, join the community, and book a call to find the workflow program that best fits your needs.